in favor of giving law enforcement that power and respecting constitutional limits.
I don't believe you, Professor. Okay? You're not talking to Bambi's baby brother here. Okay? I've read some of your stuff. I think you'd be more intellectually honest if you just come out and say, I'm on the side of the bad guys here. I think we shouldn't give state and local law enforcement the authority to fight back. You're trying to make it as hard as possible, aren't you?
We'll have to disagree on that point, Senator.
Nah. You ever heard the expression, watch what they do, not what they say?
What happens when fiery Senator John Kennedy goes head-to-head with a constitutional law professor in a Senate hearing? Sparks fly, tempers rise, and the debate cuts to the very heart of security versus liberty. Today, I'm breaking down this explosive exchange, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Before we dive in, make sure you click that subscribe button so you never miss these raw and unfiltered political showdowns.
Tell me what your constitutional concerns are, Professor.
So I have three primary concerns. The first has to do with the Fourth Amendment and the conditions under which a warrant is required and a general warrant is forbidden by the Fourth Amendment. So in this particular case, it's important.
Professor, before you give me one of your lectures, are you saying that we should require state and local law enforcement to get a warrant before they fight back?
It depends on the condition. So in an exigent circumstance or something along the border.
I'm aware of the exceptions to the warrant requirement. But you, generally speaking, you want to require them to get a warrant.
Only for the search of a device or the seizure of property. There are also due process implications of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You started to mention another one of your objections.
First Amendment.
First Amendment. Okay. Any others?
Yeah, I also have a state rights, a 10th Amendment concern here, which is that states own the airspace adjacent to the land within their state that's not federally owned, and the current federal provisions don't recognize state sovereignty in that way.
So you want to give state and local law enforcement the authority to fight back, but you want to list a whole lot of conditions. Is that a fair assessment?
Not a whole lot, but some. There needs to be a nexus to the facility. It can't be any drone anywhere in America if you're concerned about a particular facility, but right now it's too broad. There have to be acknowledgments of First Amendment concerns. So for instance, limiting the covered facilities to the experience and logic test with which the courts use for right of public access, or prohibiting media bans across the board, or setting a time limit before and after special events so they don't extend extensively. This is what a number of state measures already do, and I'd like to see that at a federal level and apply to bring this within the constitutional limits.
Sounds like a lot of conditions to me.
No, not very many. As long as there's probable cause and the conditions are met, then absolutely you can.
Have you ever heard of a legislative practice called loving a bill to death?
Yes.
Okay. And that's when you take a bill and somebody says, I'm really for this bill. But then they add so many amendments and they screw it up so badly that the bill either becomes ineffective or doesn't pass. Is that a pretty accurate description?
Of the term?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're trying to love this to death, aren't you?
I disagree.
You're not really for giving law enforcement the power to fight back, are you?
I am in favor of giving law enforcement that power and respecting constitutional limits.
I don't believe you, Professor. Okay? You're not talking to Bambi's baby brother here. Okay, I've read some of your stuff. I think you'd be more intellectually honest if you just come out and say, I'm on the side of the bad guys here. I think we shouldn't give state and local law enforcement the authority to fight back. You're trying to make it as hard as possible, aren't you?
We'll have to disagree on that point, Senator.
Nah. You ever heard the expression, watch what they do, not what they say? I've watched what you've done. I know what you believe. Were you there when you guys issued all those bad warrants against Trump's people?
I can't discuss my work on the court,
Oh,
unfortunately.
it's top secret, right? I'd be on, you'd have to put me on the American people on double secret probation if you told them the truth, wouldn't you?
No. I can't discuss my matters that I've handled before the court.
It started off as just another hearing, routine, procedural, quiet. But everything changed the moment Senator Kennedy leaned in and asked the professor a pointed question. Should state and local law enforcement have the authority to fight back against drones? The professor began laying out constitutional concerns, but Kennedy wasn't buying it. The professor cited three big issues: the Fourth Amendment, protecting against unreasonable searches and seizures; the First Amendment, ensuring freedom of the press and expression; and the 10th Amendment, guarding state sovereignty over their own airspace. He argued that while law enforcement should have power, it must be bound by strict constitutional limits. That's when Kennedy went on the offensive. He accused the professor of trying to love the bill to death, loading it with so many conditions and exceptions that it would become useless. Kennedy flat out told the professor, "I don't believe you," suggesting he was siding with the bad guys. The tension in the room was undeniable, and every word dripped with intensity. But this wasn't just about drones. This was about something bigger. On one side, Kennedy's push for swift, decisive law enforcement action to protect public safety. On the other, the professor's insistence on protecting civil liberties, warning against government overreach, security versus freedom, power versus restraint, the ultimate clash of worldviews playing out right in front of us. Kennedy pressed even harder, bringing up past warrants against Trump associates, but the professor refused to comment. The silence only fueled Kennedy's fire. By the end, one thing was crystal clear. This wasn't just a debate, it was a collision of two very different visions of America. So where do you stand? Should law enforcement have broad power to act fast, or should constitutional safeguards always take priority, even if it slows them down? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more unfiltered clashes like this straight from Capitol Hill, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Capitol Insights right now. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and I'll see you in the next one.